And speaking of fired head coaches, Scott Linehan's finally out. Me, I'm happy. Now, having a bad coach on a division rival, normally I'd say that's good for obvious reasons, but I'm glad it's over because this guy had very few responsibilities in the organization. He didn't call the plays offensively or defensively. He was just the head coach, and he was just obviously very awful at that. Maybe he's not the root of the problems, but he's one of them, so I'm just glad it's out. I'm glad that that's passed, that we can all just move on, so I'm glad it didn't get dragged out any further. So, obviously, I was happy to see the Bills come back. As for the game itself, well, the Rams did tease you. They did. They actually pulled out some big tricks in this game. The trick play to Donnie Avery for the touchdown. They were running more creative offensive and defensive schemes, I felt. They were doing everything they could to win this game, but when you're bad, you're bad. And that's what it came down to at the end. Buffalo won because they're the better team, and what are you going to do about that? Sometimes you just can't. So, and as for the Bills, they started slow. They did start slow. They let Steven Jackson have a pretty good game. They let the Rams make a couple of plays on them, but they did come back. They are known as a good fourth quarter team. Again, they showed up big in the fourth quarter and put this game away. But I think what this reveals here is that Buffalo needs to play at home, and it makes sense. They're a young team that isn't used to success. They need to get home field advantage in the postseason. They need to pick up a first-round bye. So right now, it's between the Titans and the Bills racing for the home field advantage. Probably won't be like that at the end of the season. Like I've said, I think the Colts are going to come on, challenge for the division all the same. I would never count the Colts out pretty much. You don't know if the Jets game was a fluke or a sign of things to come. What about Pittsburgh or Baltimore? What if one of them comes on strong? I wouldn't bet on it, but I do think it's a complete possibility. But anyway, Buffalo, being the team that they are, really needs to get a playoff game at home, and if they do, I think they'll be able to clean up there. So that's a concern they'll have for the rest of the way, because they, I think, only have 7 games in Buffalo this year because of 1 game in Toronto. Just something to think about. Boys Skins, Cowboys Redskins, great rivalry. We all know about it. Watch this whole game as well, and what else can you say except you're impressed by Washington? You know, I liked Campbell ever since his rookie season, but he looked better in this game than I ever thought he would be at any point in his career. Campbell's really been through a lot in his career, by the way. I'm sure you've heard a million different announcers mention his 7 offensive coordinators in the last 8 years. He's been through a lot, and that's just a microism of it, I think. You know, so much has been already said about why the Cowboys struggled and why the Redskins played so well. Santana Moss is looking like his 2005 self. Clinton Portis is just being quietly productive. Campbell's not turning it over. The defense is playing good shutdown football, in the secondary most notably, etc., etc. And on Dallas's side, you have the obvious not running the ball, giving up on the run real fast, not getting Felix Jones touches, force-feeding the ball to T.O. You've all heard about it. So I'll just say one thing that I think did not get mentioned enough that should be, and it's the simplest thing in the world: bad tackling. Dallas was missing quite a few tackles, I felt. On Portis, they missed potential sacks on Jason Campbell. They had him in the arms a couple times and couldn't bring him down. This happened a couple times with the wide receivers, just bad tackling, the most basic thing in the world. And Cowboys fans were quick to talk about all the other things they did wrong in this game, but I think that needs to be mentioned too. So, as for the T.O. thing, I don't know. If T.O. did say something to the press about this, which I think he did, I'd at least think about it. Because why would you talk about that to the press? Why wouldn't you just keep it behind closed doors? But on the other hand, I don't think it's any more than somebody who just wants to help his team win. You know, I don't think he should be complaining about not getting the ball enough, because he did get the ball plenty in this game and had many more opportunities. But I don't think it's going to be anything. People are waiting for something to happen there, and I don't think it is. So, but Eagles, Bears. Again, I watched this whole game. Can you believe I went 0-5 on games that I watched? I went 7-1 on games I didn't, so maybe that's telling me a little something there. I don't know. Anyway, good game. Well, competitive game, I'll say, because I felt like at some points neither team really wanted to win. Chicago had a good first half. Kyle Orton did things that he should never be able to do. We know Kyle Orton. We've seen him in the league for a while. He shouldn't be able to destroy a secondary like that. Not the Eagles secondary especially, so now we got to question the Eagles. What happened to that great secondary? I'm not trying to troll the Eagles and their fans or anything, but seriously, Asante Samuel got burned by Devin Hester. Lito Shepherd looks awful out there in general. I'll give credit to Sheldon Brown. I think he's playing pretty well, but Dawkins is playing well, but he looks old on occasion, so gotta question this secondary. There are many secondaries in the NFL right now that look a lot better. So there's that. You gotta give credit to Chicago for coming out and playing so well. That first drive they had where they threw the touchdown to Orton, great first drive. They put up enough points. They forced a couple of turnovers. Obviously, they fell to pieces in the second half offensively, turning it over and not moving the ball. But sometimes all you got to do is enough to win. And at the end of the day, your record is what your record is. Can't say enough about the Bears' goal line stand on Buckhalter at the end. At the same time, awful play calling by Andy and Marty. Gotta go for a quarterback sneak there on that fourth down. How could you not get it? If you quarterback sneak it, you're pretty much picking up an automatic touchdown. With a handoff, you never know. So I just don't understand that. Oh, and I want to rep Matt Forte here, because at the pace he's at, he's going to have 1,400 rushing yards, 600 receiving yards, 50 catches, and 8 touchdowns at the end of the season. Now, he probably won't do that, but hey, he's their best offensive weapon right now. When they need to run the ball, they'll go to Forte. When they need to pass the ball, Forte is one of their best receiving threats right now. So he could have a really good rookie season and never look like Marshall Faulk in the process, but put up great numbers. So Matt Forte, he's another guy who could win Rookie of the Year. We got great rookies this year, guys. Steelers-Ravens, final game of the week. A lot going on here. Ravens, you screwed it up. You had it and you lost it. Should have won that game, but you managed to screw up in the third quarter. Couple things didn't go your way. The personal foul call was just stupid on the part of Jarrett Johnson. Can't believe you would let your emotions carry you away like that in a game of this magnitude. A couple of blown coverages in the secondary, and of course the fumble recovered for a touchdown. It was a good back and forth game, competitive, had ups and downs. I thought Flacco looked good. Derek Mason continues to play very underrated football. I thought they ran the ball reasonably well. They made some things happen, absolutely, but wasn't enough. One of my least favorite things they did in this game was not trying to drive for a field goal at the end of the game. Some people will agree, some people will disagree. I think you have to go for it in that situation. I could debate about this for an hour. I really could. I'll just say, taking the knee and going into overtime, I don't like that. Pittsburgh, Mendenhall and Kendall Simmons goes on injured reserve, but I think they gotta at least be breathing a little easier now, what with the win. And they get the AFC North crown back. People were actually giving it to Baltimore before this game, and then they had it, and then they lost it in the game. So I don't got a lot else to say about that, except that Baltimore, this was your chance to make a statement, and I think your conservative play calling blew it. I know you got a rookie quarterback. You got to take some chances every now and then. So that's this week in football. Don't got a lot more to say, so I'll just leave it at that for now. 7-6 on picks. Not a good week for me. Come back next week and hopefully do better, or you get your money back.